Hello and welcome back to the report. I'm the Gav Major and this is WoWs Weekly. WoWs Weekly is a weekly news video which covers news of World of Warships Legends in the week past, present and future, along with any speculations, any leaks that we can find, along with channel admin as well. Now, as always, down in the description after this stream is live will be a pinned post in which you can comment in order to have when your quibs or jokes or comments in regards to the game or anything really, which can go in the news bar, but also while we're live streaming you can also comment in the live chat. Anyway, the headlines this week. Ranked Season 27. Now, we did cover this last week. We're going to cover it again this week because of an almighty mess up. Now, there's also some more news from the Klandafu system. Furthermore, obviously, Golden Week 2022, but also VE Day as well, which is worth covering. And also Pan-European Destroyers. Anyway, these headlines are more after this short break. So, starting off with Ranked Season 27. Now, we did cover this last week because apparently it's going to start on April the 27th. And even though I highlighted that this was potentially an issue on the CC Discord, I guess you can take a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. And they only kind of realised they got it wrong at the last minute, amusingly as always. Anyway, so, to confirm, it is running from April the 28th until May the 2nd, starting and ending at 7 AM UTC, featuring obviously ships at tier 4. All ship types are all acceptable apart from carriers, and the limitations are 1 destroyer per team. Obviously, it's 3v3, but divisions of up to 2 players are allowed. There's no leagues, irrevocable ranks are 7, 6, 3 and 1. Maps Big Race, Tears of the Desert, Polar, Sleeping Giant, Northern Waters and New Dawn. Now, the image to my left here, which shows the rewards, is ever so slightly wrong. However, that discrepancy is incredibly minor. Rewards for obviously completing each rank are as follows. Rank 6, 5 promotionals, 1 day premium. Rank 5, 5,000 credits, 1 big spring credit I should say. Rank 4, 5 epic battle boosters and 1 universal accommodation. Up there it shows a personal accommodation. Basically, it's yellow up there when it should be blue, a light blue I should say. Rank 3 you'll get 5,000 globe XP, 250 paint and 200 steel. Rank 2, 1 Golden Week 22 crate, 3 days premium account, and when you reach rank 1 you'll also get 300 steel and 250 doubloons. Of course, ranked being one of the very few modes in this game in which you can actually recuperate some doubloons. Now, bugs. We do have some slight update in regards to some of the bugs that we have kind of experienced this patch. These bugs include the Bureau missions and the Azure Lane voiceovers. So a small patch came out earlier this week with a 450 megabyte size. There was no downtime on the servers, so basically it's just downloaded whenever you boot it up really. And this basically fixed the missions in the Bureau. So before this update, you had to get a win in the ship in order to redeem that boost to your Bureau, I guess you could say. Now, you just have to play the ship and earn enough, I think more than 100 XP, which basically that's like the anti-AFK kind of system. So basically, yeah, just play the ships now. So it should make grinding the Bureau a lot easier, even easier, I guess you could say, because you could probably easily just crack all the ships in AI if you wanted in an hour and progress all of your Bureau projects if you wanted to try and divvy it out that way. Also, there has been apparently a bug regarding the Azure Lane voiceovers, and this has also been updated. Now, we have entered Golden Week 2022, and this has obviously seen the new Golden Week 22 crates become available, and there is a free one to claim in the store, along with a mission which also will grant you numerous rewards along the way. From these crates, obviously, you can check out the World of Warships Legends container drop rates to see what you can obviously get them. But just to give a quick rundown, obviously there's credits, commander progression items. The following ships are also inside these crates with the Iwak at tier 3, the Hyuga at tier 4, the Ashashio at tier 6, and then there's also Golden Week skins for the Yamato, the Congo, the Suzuyu, the Hyuga, and the Ashashio. And as always, since the start of this patch, the Suzuyu is available as Globe XP for 750,000 Globe XP, and she's the tier 7 premium cruiser. Now, continuing with the Hyuga, she's also become available this week for 10,000 doubloons. Yes, I have been trying to record a review on her. It's just been my week's been a little bit hectic, so obviously we'll cover channel news towards the end, but yeah, she's on the cards to be reviewed, I guess you could say. Now, Hyuga is one of the Issei class battleships, which was a successor to the Fuso class, and so basically it's very similar to the Fuso class in regards to having 12 number 14-inch guns, and also having a reasonable speed and armor and all that. From a brief overview of the notes, survivability looks quite reasonable. Artillery, obviously only 14-inch guns for tier 5, that's quite acceptable, however. And generally the guns seem to be alright. Based on the details, the guns are more accurate than the Fuso. For now, downsides, her maneuverability is like average to poor, depending on what element you're looking at. Concealment is quite average as well. So generally, she seems to be a nice all-rounder, and it's worth mentioning she does come with main battery reload booster, as you can see up there. She gets 2 of those. She also gets repair party. She gets 3 of those, and she also gets a choice between the following consumables: catapult fighter, spotter aircraft, or enhanced secondary battery, and you get 3 of those each, depending which. So you get 3 of one of those that you get to pick, basically. Generally, yeah, she seems all right. It's just sitting down and cracking on the review and actually getting all the review out while having a kind of reasonable game, at least I hope. So, Ranked Season 26, they actually released the stats, which has been quite interesting. You may have seen the community post that I posted on YouTube, but for those of you who haven't, I'll go over the numbers. So, obviously, you can kind of see some numbers here. My favourite one is, obviously, here, it talks about how many kills, how many people played. Down here, it talks about ship recommendations. Ironically, the recommendation for cruisers and destroyers were the recommendations as per, well, not recommendations, most played, I should say, were as per the recommendations by Sailing Robin within within the blog post. This map thing, sorry, the green screen doesn't go that far, but this map, that's an absolutely useless stat. It just shows that the chances of playing any map was about 16.5 to 17%. So let's see, all that proves is, was the matchmaking for maps random? Yes. Okay, great. But the key one that's really quite interesting is that very far top one. Obviously, green screen doesn't quite make it, which is just about where do players get to in regards to the irrevocable ranks, I guess you could say. And we were able to extrapolate some results based on some assumptions. So basically, it's been confirmed that 78,741 players completed ranked, and a very small percentage, I think it's 11% or something like that, actually completed it. So that basically means out of 78,700 players, 10,236 players actually bothered to complete Season 6 of Ranked. That also, ironically, when you look at the made it to rank 7. I mean, who made it? Basically, rank 7 was the entry level, and was an irrevocable rank, because you obviously can't go below the bottom of the bucket. Anyway, so players who obviously made it to the irrevocable rank and never made it to tier 6, or rank 6 I should say, was 34,646 players, which means about 34,500 players played 1 or 2 games, went, I can't bothered. So I guess that starts to speak volumes about what ranked is, and what maybe the rewards or the players' experience of it. Anyway, so let's try and extrapolate some more results out of this. Now, a while back, September 2021, we did get a nice hefty amount of stats from Arena Season 5, which really was quite an eye-opener into what the World of Warships Legends gaming community was. Based on those, that stat in September 2021, the amount of players who played Arena was 208,834, which is, I guess it kind of gave us like an eye-opener into the size of the community, or the player base. Now, obviously not everyone's going to play Ranked, so we can safely, or Arena in that case I should say, so we can safely round this up to about, say, 210,000 players. Now, if we assume that the player base is a stable number, that the amount of people who start playing the game is the same as the amount of people who stop playing the game, and the people who play the game regularly, that number kind of stays the same. So assume that player base, it stays quite constant. It's not growing, it's not shrinking. Obviously, we don't really know because they won't release those actual stats. What this means is that only 4.7% of the player base, only 4.7% of the 210,000 actually bothered to complete ranks. And furthermore, only 37.5% of the player base actually bothered to play ranked at all. So, does this mean that Ranked is on the way out? Or does this mean they need to do something about ranked? I think that's what it really speaks volumes about. And I think there's a couple of things that you can attribute to these low numbers. I think the first one is obviously the rewards. I mean, yes, we're going to get another drum beat in a second, but if I go back to the rewards, where's the rewards? Here. Yeah. It's pretty poor showing, really, in regards to rewards. Okay, it's a weekend sprint, and it might not take some players very long to actually get all this, but really, the rewards are pretty pitiful. I'm going to apologise for the drum beats, so take cover, chaps. There we go. So yeah, the rewards are quite poor, and the second one is like, I think the player base probably is going to get frustrated with people who are quite new to the game, especially when the numbers are only 3v3, because obviously the amount of influence a player has on the game, you could say, is 33%, but like your impact on your team is 33%. So it means if you have one player who doesn't really know how to angle a ship, or what concealment is, or how to use torpedoes, or actually to fire their guns, or actually decides to wander off halfway through and go to the toilet or go AFK, that's 33% of your team just basically useless. And obviously the value per ship obviously is quite strong. So it means if obviously you haven't got a lot of time, or maybe you get easily frustrated, if you come across quite a few of these games, you're just going to say, I can't be bothered, because the rewards, again, aren't enough to drive you through to the end, and the experience just, the means just don't justify the ends, or the ends don't justify the means, whichever way you want to put it. And then I guess furthermore, it's Wargame's constant refusal to make the missions that you have in game, your daily missions, your weekly missions, the missions for the campaign, the missions for your bureau, the constant refusal to allow those to be completed in arena. And you have to then take that into account. If you're a player who doesn't have a lot of time, and you're faced with playing arena for some pitiful rewards, or you could play standard and get a lot more for it, for probably the less effort, I guess you could say, because obviously you're 1 of 9 rather than 1 of 3 in this case, you're going to pick playing standard, because you'll be able to complete your weekly, your daily, your campaign, all at the same time as having fun and having been slightly diffused, I guess you could say, among like other players. So really, generally, it seems like ranked just does not offer the kind of returns that it used to back in the day. Anyway, rant over, and I hope you did enjoy that random rant, I guess you could say. Moving on. Anzac Day 2022. There is a redeem code down in the description if you have missed it. Anzac Day is obviously the Australian and New Zealand more military remembrance kind of day, and it's obviously following the events of Gallipoli, which was obviously the Commonwealth or the British, I'd say Commonwealth, kind of like attack on Turkey during World War One. Anyway, so this redeem code is obviously down in the description, and you'll get yourself a nice Anzac flag, which is quite nice. Although, yeah, and then in the background there is, I think that's the Australian flag. I don't know them off by heart. So, anniversary sales, week 3. This is the final week of these anniversary sales. Basically, as I've said in the past couple of weeks, there's an array of in-game goods discounted up to 50%, but obviously the premium ships are only really discounted 30%. The premium ships which are discounted this week are the Duke of York, the Benham, the Scharnhorst, the Mutsu, the Muchen, the London, and the Kidd. Now, Kidd could be an interesting one to pick up, because we know she's going to be getting defensive AA5 consumable in the future. Pardon me. So, out of those ones, London's alright, but honestly, you'd be better with Exeter. Kidd could be quite an interesting one. She's very unique. Muchen, she's a flimsy, speedy citadel. She's the Kriegsmarine's fastest submarine, is the best way I like to put it. Especially when there's Scharnhorst up there, you're probably better off picking up Scharnhorst. But just remember, Scharnhorst only has 11-inch guns, so she's probably going to be mostly focused on HE. So yeah, Benham, she's interesting, but Benham, I think, isn't she available for Global XP? I can't remember. I think she's, or at least she has been at maybe one point. And Duke of York, which is basically a KG5 with a slower reload, better AP, and less repair parties for some reason. Oh, and she also gets sonar and improved anti-aircraft armament. So generally, I think my picks there, I mean, if I was looking at it as a fresh face, I think Scharnhorst, Kidd, probably Scharnhorst and Kidd would be the key picks there, I would say. All right. Xbox bundle. Obviously, you can't really. This is the image they use, so this is the image I've used. So basically, Xbox Game Pass players in the Xbox store is the Mythical Might bundle. This is a bundle which obviously comes with a load of in-game goodies. One of these goodies is actually a tech tree ship, which is quite ironic. You get a British Tier 5 cruiser, the Leander, along with the permanent camouflage for the Leander, but it's only grade 1. So you're going to have to spend paint in order to actually boost it all the way up. Furthermore, it's going to be the, let me just get the correct hotkey, the French Tier 3 premium battleship, the Trini, I believe. Now, she has 4 module slots, which is quite interesting. So she comes with like the first module slot which you expect, then she gets the second one like a Tier 5, then she gets the third one, which is contains like target acquisition mod, and then she gets the fourth one, which you actually can equip artillery plotting rooms. So for a Tier 3, that's quite interesting. Furthermore, as you can see from her turret layout, let's do the video one more time. She's got 6 turrets. We have 3 at the front, 1 in the centre, 1 on either wing, and then she's also got 3 at the rear, with 1 in the centre and 2 either side. So she's got a broadside of 4 turrets, but she can actually get cut not perfectly, but she can kind of, if you wiggle the ship around, you can kind of fire 3 turrets to the front and 3 turrets to the rear. Very similar to maybe the Nassau, if you're familiar with that. Now, you also get 3 days premium account, 7 rare ship XP boosters, 7 rare credit boosters, 7 rare commander XP boosters, 7 rare global XP boosters, and 7 rare battle boosters. If you already have these ships and camouflages, you'll receive the following compensation. You'll get 7,576,500 credits for the Leander, and you'll get 1,125,000 credits if you have the Leander camouflage. So doing the math on the fly, what's that equal? That's 8,687,500 credits, if my math is right there. Anyway, so it's a nice little bundle. Now, if you're not an Xbox player, you say you're a PlayStation player, don't worry. It's just a matter of time. She will come in the future. It's very much like with the Medea. The Medea came to Xbox before she came to PlayStation. So in time, she will make her an appearance. It's just because there's slightly different hoops to jump through for Microsoft and for Sony in order to get bundles into the store. And sometimes, obviously, they make it to the store before on one side before it makes it to the other. And so, just give it time, chaps, and she will make her way into the game. So, Community Manager's live stream is happening this Friday. Final Boss and Saint Robin will be obviously playing Ranked Season 27, I assume in the Division. Now, they will be, obviously the stream is on April the 29th, and I believe it is starting at 1400 UTC. I'll allow you to adjust for your time zone as you wish. So, last but not least, Pan-European Destroyers. Now, bear with, this graphic is from the PC version of the game, so obviously this is showing all the ships which are on PC in their tech tree. We're not going to be getting all of them, because we've only got 7 tiers and they've got 10 tiers, so they're basically 3 of these we're not going to make it. So, super testers have received the Pan-European Destroyers and are testing them on the live servers. In fact, they have been spotted by members of the community. Based on the community who have been able to spot them, it has been confirmed that the Tier 5 will be, now you're going to have to re-bear my pronunciations on these, the Vastrias, and the Tier 6 is going to be the Sakane. Now, obviously, these 2 ships are in super testing and therefore on the live servers, and you might see those too. Now, based on those and the tiers that we found them, the anticipated tech tree is as follows. This is me, finger in the wind, right? So take with a huge pinch of salt. So Tier 7, the Oland, the Tier 6, the Sakane, we know that one, the Tier 5, the Vastrias, I believe, obviously we know that one, the Tier 4, the Visby, or Visby, for Tier 3, the Classhorn, and for the Tier 2, the Romulus. I believe my pronunciations are all wrong there, but I believe that's what we can expect. Now, going over what the pan-European DDs are, they're fast, long range, weak torpedoes, okay, no smoke, fast firing guns. That is all. So they're not really that exciting. I mean, imagine taking the Friesland and removing her sonar and removing her smokescreen and then giving her, like not amazing torpedoes. That's what you're really looking at, is the best way to put it. So I kind of feel that what we've had, so we've got 3 premium pan-European destroyers in the game. We've got the Bisviska. The Bisviska has been around since the game launched. She's nothing special, really. She's basically a pan-European Jervis, I guess you could say, almost. We've got the Orkan. The Orkan, I would say, was like a platform for testing a non-smoke destroyer, I guess you could say. And then we've got the Friesland, which is kind of like, I'd say, testing the concept of the fast-firing pan-European guns. But yeah, so it's going to be an interesting one. Now, obviously, with Conrad slipping into the game like he did at the start of this patch, it's kind of built some anticipation that pan-European DDs are on their way. Well, it looks like we're at least another step closer, potentially. Whether they'll be next patch or the patch after is obviously yet to be determined, but let's be honest. I mean, if it's entered super testing, so I'd say there's a good chance next patch. I mean, you've got to remember the Minotaur, when she entered kind of like a public testing by being played by the community managers, she basically came the next patch. So yeah, I probably would say there's a reasonable chance that these might make it next patch, which makes sense, really. Anyway, that is all of the news as per what I have written down. I don't think there's any stop press, but if they do post anything, do just put stop press in caps and share in the chat. So as always, if you're just here for the news, feel free to give it a like, feel free to subscribe, and obviously comment in the chat or in the pinned post down below, depending on if we're live or not. If you want anything to go in the news bar down below, I will jump in with the chat and cover the channel news after this short break. So hello chat. First of all, I'm going to have a quick skim and say hello to everyone. So I'd say hello to Admiral Kriv, to Randy Chang, to Sean Winning, to Tazuka Adventures, to Vaz Vegas, to Jeff Dave. Who else do we have? Good day, Salty Sax. I think that's everyone who's commented in the chat. So now I'm going to go back to the top and let's see what we got. Vaz, I got the Hyuga in one of those free Golden Week crates yesterday. She's powerful. Glad you like her. The only problem I have with her is if she gets up tiered. I kind of feel, but that's just generally a problem probably with tier 5 battleships in general. Tzulkalu got the Hyuga in a crate as well. Very nice. Good evening, Jeff. I'm a Kriv. I bet the tier 3 was a big no-no for many players. Maybe that's why less interest. I forgot it as well, how slow can be these matches. Yeah, it's potentially true. Sean, better rewards. 100% agree with that. You got my vote. Annie Chang, if there was a leaderboard for consecutive wins, things would get sweaty pretty fast, I bet. Yeah, the classic. The thing is, I find with the leaderboard that they do in the game for like when they've done like events in the past or when they do arena, it's kind of, I can understand the incentive to it. But at the same time, I find it a bit poor, like a bit rubbish. The reason being is, okay, so you get to see the top 10 players or so. I mean, okay, that's really incentive for those who really want to try hard to get in the top 10. Fair enough. The problem is, when you look at your position, it has no concept of where you actually are. You see all these players' names and you don't know who any of them are, and therefore you can't really feel smug about your position. What they really need to do is, like, if you remember some of the old first-person shooters and things like that, you used to have a leaderboard. And you could look at your position on the leaderboard, you could look at the top of the leaderboard, and you could look at the leaderboard with just your friends. Your on console friends, and if they did that with World of Warships Legends, at least the leaderboard would mean something, because at least you could get some bragging rights over your friends. You could look at your position and go, haha, and you could kind of mess around or chat with your actual in-game friends and say, "Oh, I've just overtaken you on the leaderboard. Didn't I have a bit of a friendly competition?" But no, we don't have that. So you can either look at the top 10, which is probably only really critical for about 50 players in the entire world, or you can look at your position and go, "Oh, all right, I don't know." So that's my issue with the current leaderboard system they have in World of Warships Legends. Griff, after these loyalty rewards, we can't really hope for much back in rank. Yeah, let's be honest, the loyalty rewards were have us insignia for 3 years of dedication to the game. Great, an insignia. Like, you get more insignias in the campaign. Yes, so as soon as the leaderboard, and Sean, looks like a Crocodile Dundee hat on the flag. I think it is, actually, yeah. Free Leander. I know, yeah, get you a Leander for free. I mean, they could have probably picked, I'd like, British bias aside, they probably could have picked a better tier 5 to actually have. I mean, if they did like a free Aoba, that could be probably quite a good one, because that's quite a reasonable tier 5 tech tree cruiser for people to kind of get their teeth into. A Leander is is a floating citadel if you don't really know what you're doing, and yeah, so I can see a lot of players going, "Oh, my free Leander," and pop goes the weasel. But at least they have a tier 3 premium battleship, I guess you could say, so they can get all those one promotional wins every week. Sean, I got a free box of tea for the Leander. Ooh. Hope you don't mind your tea being cold and salty. I'm a crib. I'm very sad that the Tartra will not make it into Legends. Fingers crossed for SMS Verbius Unitus. I do apologize for the pronunciation. Yeah, to be honest, Criv, I think you've already been pestering Blip for that one, and I think he's kind of said in time, in due course. Zul, Kalu, when do we get the Mongolian Navy? God bless the Mongolian Navy and all that's sailing here. All the one ship. Ranjang Swirsky for everyone, then return of the double triple concealment meta. Yeah, that's going to be very true. You got to think pan-European destroyers do come to the game. Swirsky and Conrad are going to be made available to everyone out flat. So yeah, it's going to be the introduction of the. Everyone's going to be able to have access to a full triple concealment build without having to purchase anything. Although at the moment you could kind of say, well, you could kind of do a triple concealment build anyway, because you could use, obviously, for example, for a destroyer, you could use Bay and the Pan-Asian one as an inspiration. Obviously, that buff is not as good as Swirsky, but yeah, so you can kind of do the triple buff, triple concealment build already. Jazul, as soon as Mongolia claim a port somewhere. No, Amaquith, Mongolia did have a navy. It was one boat. They got one boat, one gunboat, I think. I bet a commander skill rework has come in, sort these meme builds out, and very true. Although we did kind of have one kind of well, not recently, but we kind of did have one where they did the concealment nerf across the board. Whether we might see, this is the thing, like with Swirsky, they might rework him in order to make him before they make him to general release. I think it's yet to be seen. Zul, is the British Navy so bad they give away the ships for free? Evening there was. Good evening. Ranjang, maybe you want to populate the game with more Leanders as a gift to the Hyuga purchasers. Yeah, that's one way to make tier 5 battleship players feel like they're looking a gift horse in the mouth. Give everyone a free Leander to play. Jeff Dave, the 200 plus free crates to the first wins was pretty good though. Yes, that's one thing they have done very well this patch, is the first win crates and the rewards within them. Generally, that seems to be well received by a lot of players. A lot of people have been able to take the opportunity to grind through quite a lot and get those crates and actually get some decent rewards out of it. I've seen a couple of my moderators who also are community not community but content creators, I should say, have done videos in which they do crate openings, and I've seen them get some reasonable ships. And one thing I should say is obviously thank you Dan McCriff for sending in the video of the French tier 2 battleship, which the name escapes me now, as obviously that did make quite a nice pretty background thing, and obviously gave people a nice idea what she looks like. Well, that looks like I caught up with the chat. Channel news. Yes, I need to crack on with the Hyuga. I just need to actually have my head in the game. It's been a bit of a rough week, I guess you could say, in regards to work. Obviously, we will be streaming on Friday. Apologies for Friday stream. Week past, the internet just was not playing ball. I mean, we had like a good solid hour reasonable internet connection, and then it just kept dropping out. And so I do the usual three strikes and it's out. So usually my internet drops out about 3 times during the stream. I'll just call it quits there, because it's just not worth me trying to keep pushing it through. Now the internet's been a lot more stable this week so far, fingers crossed, so hopefully Friday's stream should go ahead as scheduled, as planned, and without any interruptions. Generally the internet does this every now and then. It drops out. It has like a bit of a funny patch where we end up with quite a noisy line into the house. We're not sure where that noise is being caused from, but obviously the British Telecom aren't interested in rewiring our entire house just for it not to resolve the problem. So it's one of those things where it will be fixed once we have a stable problem. The issue is the problem's so intermittent that it's not worth trying to resolve it, because by the time the engineer gets here, we might not find where the problem is. Can you show the AA stats? I don't think I can, not easily. But yeah, the AA stats on the I don't think I can. The AA stats on the French tier 3 premium battleship. It's she's got 8 single 8mm guns, I guess, which only have a range of 1 kilometer. And so my personal joke at the moment is that it's actually just 8 blokes who go up on deck with rifles and use iron sights to try and shoot the aircraft down, because like the range is so pitiful. The caliber is actually almost rifle caliber. You could probably say, oh, it's 8mm Mauser or something. So it's just 8 Frenchmen with Mausers go up on the deck and try and shoot the aircraft down. It did make me laugh. The thing is, there's not actually an easy way for me to bring it into the on screen, unfortunately. It's the French sailors go out on deck and yell loudly at the enemy planes, start throwing baguettes and onions. Right, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Actually, one item of channel news I should really cover. The week past historical accuracy short on the Camel Town, that's going to be the last one for a while. The reason being is I've actually run out of ships to review, and I've run out of resource material to actually review anymore. So I'm not quite sure where to go from there. I've really enjoyed making the shorts. I think I've done like 15 weeks of them, so I hope you have enjoyed them. But yeah, we've kind of hit a dead end now. There's no more to go. There's no more obviously historical ships in the game which will have historical camos that can actually review for World War II under the Royal Navy. So yeah, we've kind of hit a bit of an impasse there. It might pick up again if they add more camos, if they add more ships, if I purchase some more research material. But obviously, maybe it's time that I actually use the Patreon money for something. So maybe we might be purchasing some books in regards to the Kriegsmarine during World War II regarding their camouflages, or maybe something like that. So yeah, so at the moment, that's just one thing to note. Apart from that, yeah, we'll be just cracking on with business as usual. Anyway, that is everything. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has come along. Thank you for obviously coming to the chat. If you are watching this afterwards, there's a pin post down below in which you can comment on, in which to obviously have something in the scrolly bowl for next week. And until next time, I'm the Gareth Major, and back to the port.